Hello everyone, this is Persephone and this is the first video in the Black Pill series. If you came here from Surviving Infidelity or similar subreddits, let me tell you two things before we start. Thing number one is that I have many requests to make this video, so I'm going to make it, and the morality is questionable but the effectiveness is not. And thing number two, because I always try to be a fair person, after this video, I soon plan to make a video about how to prevent your man from cheating and how to prevent everything that we are going to talk about in this video from happening. So I want you to be patient because I'm also married with extreme success. And you're going to see both sides of the story and you are free to pick yours, okay? So first of all, before we start anything, we have to do some introspection. I assume that if you are on my channel, you're here because there is this guy that you met and he's your soulmate, he's perfect, he's amazing, with one little problem. He happens to be married. And your job is to make this wife disappear, and you have already researched online on how to steal a married man, and you came across articles that pretty much said that you cannot steal him, that men don't leave their wives for other women, and that you're going to burn in hell for the Satan's abomination prostitute that you are. So you are in the right place because I have good news for you and bad news for you. The good news is that yes, you can steal a man from his wife, and forget what all of those articles are writing, that they're mostly written by scorned wives or ex-wives. The bad news is that it's going to be a little more complicated, but I'm going to give you every piece of information that you need. First of all, my personal boundary that I would suggest you to also adopt is to not break families with small children. Not only for the moral part that the children are still in a developmental age and it's good to have their parents together, but also for the practical part for you, because you're going to say, Persephone, yeah, but his wife is so abusive, you don't know how hard he has it at home, he's being mistreated like a dog, he almost lives in the doghouse like your freedom slaves. Well, if his wife is so crazy and you are a moderately good person, you should take custody. Are you prepared to be a stepmom of small kids if shit hits the fan and you manage to steal him and he's indeed abused? If not, if you don't want to take full care of kids that came from an abusive household, then I should suggest going for a child-free or single, like having no kids or having adult kids who won't care man. Now that we got this out of the way, we are going to get into the practical part. First of all, we have to examine what kind of case you are dealing with. If there is a man who just happens to be married and you work together and he has never given you the right to think that he's going to stray, it's a very high chance that he's not going to cheat, or it's going to be exceptionally hard. So for the sake of this video, we're going to focus to the scenario that the guy is giving you, from flirting flags that he's available to actually sleeping with you in hotels in your lunch break. Okay, so that we have out of the way the fact that the guy is interested in straying. Okay. I'm going to get this out of the way too. This man gave oaths to another wife and yet here he is sleeping with you. So these men, they want to be stolen. Usually they're men that they don't have the balls to break up, or it's too convenient to stay married and they choose this way. So of course it's possible to steal him. And don't hear anyone else who tell you otherwise. If you fail, it's most likely because you didn't do something right or there was some unknown factor that you didn't know. Okay. First of all, you're going to do a serious background check on this guy, because every cheater is different. Not all cheaters are equal. I'm going to quote one of my favorite subreddits, which is Our Adultery, where the moderator and creator of the subreddit is a man called Married Scoundrel, who is having, 12 affair partners as we speak. And he is a cheater because he's on a dead bedroom and his wife hasn't had sex with him in 3 years, according to him, not even one time. So men like that who are serial cheaters because they use cheating as a way to cope with their situation at home, they have already decided that they are not going to leave their wife, and probably they are saying the same things to many women and they are sleeping with many women at the same time. And you may think that you're very special and one of a kind when you are in fact one of many. And before you get furious, I'm saying that even that you can use it to your advantage if you play your cards right and you find out early before you get too attached or too emotional. So you're doing a background check and you don't find out that he has a harem of other women and he's indeed into you, like it's just you and him, or mostly you and him. How do you proceed from now? The first rule when you date a married man and you are not married is that you never date the married man exclusively. Like, he doesn't get to know that you're on your house sobbing and waiting and being jealous while he is with his wife or with his family. This lowers your attraction by, I don't know, like 80%, probably more. You are going to tell him very early on that you respect that he's married, that you totally understand if he doesn't want to divorce, but you're going to keep your options open. And by open, I don't mean just lip service. I mean you're going to be going out with hot guys and posting pictures on social media, and it's up to you how much you're going to proceed. I would suggest actually trying many guys out, because many times the prince is in fact a frog. So what if you meet a great single guy and the whole problem is solved? But if you don't want to do that and you don't want to have sex with other people, you have to at least give the aura of desirability and popularity, because this is going to put pressure on him. Most men are weak creatures, they have complete double standards, and they want to be the hot shit in their relationship while you're just there, desperate and waiting for him to make a move. You must never let things get to the point where you're waiting on him to decide and pressuring him and whining and all of that. Now, if you're telling me, hey P, I just came to your channel and I've done all of that, well, when you find yourself deep in a hole that you have been digging, the first thing is you stop digging. You are going to again call him and have a conversation that you totally understand, but since he can't divorce right now, or that's not an option, you're going to be seeing other people. And then you're going to enjoy seeing him get upset. The second part is that you are going to know your enemy. I actually recommend reading a book called The Art of War that is written by a Chinese strategist 5,000 years ago, but this is a war. And you have to find out everything you can about the wife. Snoop, even you can pay internet records. I want you to find out what she's eating, what she's doing, what's her past, everything. This is extremely crucial in your success because there are two scenarios. Scenario number one is that this man is extremely into his wife and this man is not into his wife at all. What do I mean? There is a chance that he married someone who is completely his type. And for whatever reason, the marriage is not currently working because he's sitting with you. So maybe his wife is a very beautiful brunette and she was very slim years ago and now she has let herself go. She has become a land whale, she has become nagging, she doesn't make her hair and put on makeup anymore. In this case, you become the wife how she used to be and how he would want her to be ideally. If this is the case, usually you already resemble the wife in many areas and you probably didn't know, and instead of being offended, you should consider this a huge advantage because you can use it. You can be completely his type, and usually you can make a man talk, especially if he's frustrated or if this started as an emotional affair. You can make him talk and find out all the information you need to be the wife, the reloaded version. The second case is a little bit trickier, but it can also be dealt with, is that you're the complete opposite of the wife. And this can happen for many reasons. The most common reason from what I've observed is that men are tired of the same thing over and over. They want variety. Personally, I don't believe that people are monogamous to begin with. So either he married his wife when they were both young and he didn't exactly know what he was attracted to, or he's having a midlife crisis and he wants to try whatever exotic is out there, or anything like that. In this case, you continue being the opposite of the wife or highlight your differences while presenting your best self. Imagine how geishas did it. Geishas weren't prostitutes in the sense that you would just go there and have sex. They created a world, like a fantasy world, where the man was heard, appreciated, there was no nagging, there was no shit talking. If you're working together, you're going to admire and support this man. He's going to get from you all the supply he doesn't get from his wife. And why am I using the word supply? I mean narcissistic supply. Most men who are cheating usually are part of the cluster B universe. They have narcissistic traits, they have psychopathic traits, and they usually have charisma and entitlement, which means that he feels entitled to lie and cheat and sleep around to get what he wants. So this makes the whole situation a power play, an eternal power play, which means that if you want such a man for you, you are going to be the one to never make him feel that he has the upper hand. Otherwise, you lost and you get the place of the wife. All the people who say, oh my God, but he cheated on her, he's going to cheat on you, it depends. If he's a person who likes sleeping with multiple women, yes, if you want monogamy, it's a very slim chance. But if his wife is a 300-pound, unemployed, nagging land whale and you take care of yourself, then no, I don't see this happening easily. Okay, so it very much depends on what you know about the guy and what you know about the wife. So let's say you have done all of that, you look nice, you act nice. Like I said, nice doesn't mean doormat. You enforce consequences, something that the wife isn't enforcing, because these men, they're going to push your buttons to see how much they can get away with. Actually, this is all men, not just the cheating men. But anyway, in this case, even more. If you, every time you see him misbehaving or letting you down or degrading you, you punish him. Like, he agreed to call you on weekends and he hasn't called you. You're not going to pick up the call. You're going to wait days. You see him and he acts disinterested. Next time you're going to tell him you have another date. And before you say this is elementary school, trust me, this is what men want. Elementary school, unfortunately. Especially the immature type who cannot commit and doesn't even know what he wants. The other part that I need to emphasize is that you're not going to believe bullshit that he doesn't have sex with his wife. This is an exception. I know I mentioned our adultery, but most of them do have sex with their wives, even if they don't want to, because they don't want their wife to suspect that he's getting it somewhere else. So if he's telling you that and it makes you feel bad, have sex with other guys too, because you can't stop him. You can't control what he's doing in his own house, okay? Another thing that you need to be very careful of is that if things progress, his marriage is going to be deteriorating further and further, and you're going to be appearing more and more desirable. So at some point, especially the more woke men, they're going to start future promising, or even better, future faking. That they're going to leave their wives after this happens or after that happens. They can say, for example, you know, my kids are almost in college age, in 6 months they're going to leave the house, then I'm telling her I'm leaving her. I suggest you give one chance. Like, you can wait, not exactly wait, you can just brush it off and say, okay, you can do what you want best, you know how things are, no pressure. Like, I'm seeing 4 more guys, you can see it on my social media, I'm canceling your date, so he's boiling his own broth. If the 6 months come and he doesn't leave his wife, which is most likely what's going to happen, then you cut him off like he's the most worthless piece of shit on the planet. Like, you're going to be acting like a business deal. That, you know, we had this deal, you didn't honor your terms, it's nothing personal, but, you know, I mean, I had all those plans for us. I understand if you can't do it, but it's important for me. I have to take care of myself too. Self-love is important. This bunch of brain Ebola, and you block him everywhere. In this part, the less emotionally involved you are with the man that you want, the more successful you're going to be. I know it sounds like very contradictory and very torturing, but you're going to have to kill your emotions to get what you want in these days. Normally, he's going to freak out. He's going to start suspecting like that he's losing you, panicking. His behavior at home is going to be even worse because all of a sudden you cut off supply that he can't replace fast. And there is a very high chance that in the next big fight, the art of war says, if you wait long enough by the river, the bodies of your enemies will come floating to you. I believe in keeping it classy, even if it's just appearances. So give him a month with his nagging, old, fat, toxic wife, and you won't have to try. Most likely, she's going to kick him out, or he's going to call you that he's going to run to the sunset with you and appear with suitcases in your front door. So what you do from there is going to be your thing, but I'm just saying, give it a month. Just wait on it a month, don't think about it and see what happens. Now we're going to get to the worst case scenario. You gave it a month, nothing happened, he's calling you again, he's trying to reestablish contact, and you miss him and you suffer and you start to feel really pissed off that why did this have to happen to you, and blows up your self-esteem. I'm going to tell you the key that opens all doors. In this case, you tell the wife. And by you tell the wife, I don't mean that you go to his house and you make a huge scene and you humiliate yourself and you humiliate her. You have to make her find out some way that doesn't directly connect to you, but it's impossible to deny. So you're going to say, what am I going to do? Am I going to meet him and have someone follow us and take pictures? Yeah, that would actually be a very good idea. Because when it comes to cheating women, I believe in female intuition. Deep down, women sense that something is wrong, but they don't want to deal with it. So you can start a domino effect. You can just give one strong piece of evidence and then everything is going to collapse. So nowadays, with social media, everything is easy, and probably you know his wife's social media by this point. If you don't, you stop the video and you go to find them out, and you're going to send her something that he can't dismiss as circumstantial evidence. Like if someone sends a picture with a date of you and him kissing outside the hotel, she's going to kick him out. I'm going to take this one step further. Let's say she's a Christian woman, she's a good woman, she believes in second chances, she believes in repairing her marriage, or she's a weak woman, she sees him as a meal ticket and she doesn't want to actually have to get a job after 20 years or lose 200 pounds or something like that. In this case, she's going to be treating him so much like shit and for so long that eventually he's going to be the one to leave, because those men who cheat are usually selfish and they cannot stand a life where they're being treated like a piece of dirt. So again, you wait and chances are in your favor. Of course, all of this, every win in this war comes at big prices. You are going to be labeled the other woman forever. You may lose friends. Your own family may decide to go no contact with you. There are going to be relatives from his side that even if he ends up marrying you, they're always going to treat you with contempt. And this is something that you have to consider long term, because, for example, a book that I love, it's probably one of my favorite books, Anna Karenina, that is a book based on cheating, and the characters, they feel like real humans to me. I suggest you read Anna Karenina because it's a very good example to avoid. After Anna gets what she wants, she gets to run away with her handsome military lover. The jealousy starts eating her up so much. She's shunned from everywhere. She can't have a social life, and she was a princess. She had a high stand in society, and all of a sudden she's just a mistress. And because her husband is very pissed off and he doesn't want to give her a divorce, she can never get married. And eventually she has so many fights with her lover and she ends up killing herself. She falls in front of the tracks of a train and she gets dismembered. And I know this is very creepy and I wouldn't want this to happen, but all I'm saying is try to consider as much as possible the long term. Like, can you live with this man for the rest of your life? Or if he loses everything, are you going to ditch him? What if he's weak and he ends up killing himself? Those are not easy answers. I would say when you don't know an answer, take time, sleep on it, think, collect more data before you make a final decision that it cannot be undone. And you never know what you're going to end up with. I mean, in this life, it's not like you signed a contract with him. You can back off any moment if you don't want something, you don't feel that this is the one. But I assume that since you're watching this video all of this time, you think he's the one. So, I believe there are many paths in life. There are times that someone is the one and the circumstances are very bad and he ended up marrying the wrong person, okay? One more thing that you have to consider, especially if there are children involved, even older children, is how is the wife? The more functioning and pretty the wife is, the better for you. Because this gives you a chance to move on with your life and find someone else. Otherwise, you're going to most likely end up with a creepy ass, insane bunny boiler stalker ex-wife that she may stalk you and harass you for the rest of your life. There is an algorithm that I've read and I believe in, that if someone doesn't move on after a year, they will most likely never move on. do you really want to live with such an orc following you for the rest of your life? Is he really worth it? Or what if you want kids and he doesn't want any more kids, or he can't financially support any more kids? A divorce is going to drain him. Are you ready to be there as his rock? Otherwise, everything is going to crumble. If you answer to yes to all of this with decisiveness and inspiration, and you feel that you're going to go there and take matters in your own hands, I'm going to say, if you want it, go for it. Because, like I said, there are many people who are in situations that we cannot comprehend. And to quote again, our adultery, we live in a hypocritical society that sex is something that is being brushed in the corner and people don't really speak about it. They say something like, if you go to a bar and you say that I haven't had sex with my wife for 2 years, people are going to blame you and say you don't go on enough romantic dates with her, you don't do enough housework and she's overwhelmed, maybe she's hormonal and she needs to check herself and you're not supportive, and a bunch of brain embola like that. And I say brain embola because yes, those are some possible reasons, but we are not sure if they are the only reasons. For example, what if you married a woman who is asexual or has very low libido and she actually hid this from you to trap you into a marriage, or she lost her libido because of, I don't know, giving birth or anything like that, and she doesn't want to work on it. And she's forcing you in a situation of married incelhood, which is the worst thing. Incel is an involuntarily celibate, for those of you who don't know, which is pretty much someone cock-blocking you from having sex for the rest of your life. And for whatever reason you cannot divorce, or the possibility of divorce starts being in your mind recently and you check things out. For me, a person who is in this tragic situation, because I've been in a dead bedroom in the past, luckily for a few months after that I ended the relationship, is not the same as a person who is just selfish and has a nice, beautiful woman and he just wants to fuck around. So I believe that for society, not all cheaters are created equal. Again, I know I'm going to receive hate for this video. I'm going to say everyone lives by their own personal moral code, okay? I'm not going to be here to encourage you or here to prevent you. And I'm going to make the video, like I said in the start, where I'm going to tell you as a wife what you can do to minimize the chances of all the things that I described here happening to you. But whether we like it or not, cheating statistics show that 90% of men and surprising 70% of women cheat at some point in their marriage. So it's more common than we think, and my personal belief is it's better to live in reality than to live in a fantasy. So if you want to remain in a dead bedroom and you don't want an open relationship and you just want to turn a blind eye, that's your problem. I'm always saying that when you leave your car unlocked and someone steals it, part of the theft is your problem. I mean, I do believe that if you have a relatively good marriage and healthy marriage, the chances of cheating are minimized. But if someone makes it the purpose of their life to make your husband or your wife stray, there is little you can do to prevent it. Well, little but essential. We're going to talk about it really soon. If you like this content or if you hate this content, please subscribe to my channel. I need 1,000 subscribers to get monetized, and YouTube doesn't pay us until we get monetized, and I don't like to do charity YouTube. So I would be very grateful. It's only 30 seconds and it doesn't cost you anything. Also, if you have ideas for future videos, I want you to please let me know in the comment section below, and you're of course free to debate in a civilized way, but comments that I usually receive, which is death threats, get cancer and die, you will burn in hell, those comments are going to be removed and you're going to be blocked, because I don't have time for over emotional and crazy people. Thank you very much for watching.